Negative, destructive thoughts continue to work negatively in your subconscious mind, and in due time will come forth into outer experience which corresponds with them. Remember, your subconscious mind does not engage in proving whether your thoughts are good or bad, true or false, but responds according to the nature of your thoughts or suggestions. For example, if you consciously assume something to be true even though it may be false, your subconscious mind will accept it as true and proceed to bring about results which must necessarily follow because you consciously assumed it to be true. Your subconscious mind cannot argue controversially. Hence, if you give it wrong suggestions, it will accept them as true and will proceed to bring them to pass as conditions, experiences, and events. Your subconscious mind is oftentimes referred to as your subjective mind. Your subjective mind takes cognizance of its environment by means independent of the five senses. Your subjective mind perceives by intuition. It is the seat of your emotions and the storehouse of memory. Your subjective mind performs its highest functions when your objective senses are in abeyance. It is that intelligence which makes itself manifest when the objective mind is suspended or in a sleepy, drowsy state. Your subjective mind sees without the use of the natural organs of vision. It has the capacity of clairvoyance and clairaudience. Your subjective mind can leave your body, travel to distant lands, and bring back information oftentimes of the most exact and truthful character. Through your subjective mind, you can read the thoughts of others, read the contents of sealed envelopes and closed safes. Your subjective mind has the ability to apprehend the thoughts of others without the use of the ordinary objective means of communication. It is of the greatest importance that we understand the interaction of your objective and subjective mind in order to learn the true art of prayer. When your conscious and subconscious mind function harmoniously and peacefully, when they work together in unison and in harmony, the result of that is harmony, health, peace, and joy and happiness. All the evil, pain, suffering, misery, war, crime, and sickness in the world are due to the inharmonious relationship of your conscious and subconscious mind. Remember, we said your subconscious is impersonal and non-selective. In the Bible it says the husband is head of the wife. The husband in the Bible is your conscious mind, and the wife is the subconscious. That's not true from a literal standpoint, but is true psychologically. Your subconscious is controlled by your conscious mind. It's amenable to suggestion and controlled by it. The wife, your subconscious, is subject to the man, the conscious mind, in all things. That's only true psychologically. Whatever your conscious mind feels to be true, your subconscious accepts. Your capacity to imagine and feel and your freedom to choose the idea you want to entertain gives you power over all creation. Do not dwell on the imperfections and shortcomings of others or their frailties and derelictions. Why? Because whatever you think and feel about another, you create in your own mind, body, and circumstances. Ask yourself, would I like to live with what I'm thinking and wishing for the other? If you would, you're on the right track. Your thought is creative, and what you think about the other, you are creating in your pocketbook too, and in all the phases of your life. What you do not wish done unto you, do not feel it is done unto you or another. Chance or accident is not responsible for the things that happen to you, nor is the predestined faith the author of fortune or misfortune. Your subconscious mind is not concerned with the truth or falseness of what you consciously feel or believe to be true. Select only that which is true, lovely, noble, and godlike, and your subconscious will reproduce accordingly. The Bible says, "Believe you have it now, and you shall receive it. All things whatsoever you shall ask in prayer, believe that you have it now, and you shall receive it." That's a psychological law. Assume the mood that would be yours had you realized your desire, and as you do this, wonders will begin to happen in your life. Edison discovered or he knew intuitively that the voice caused undulatory currents in the atmosphere. He reasoned it out, believing such currents could reproduce the voice. The idea came to him where, inasmuch as your voice produces waves, these waves will reproduce that voice. That's believing you have it now, and you shall receive it. So he developed a phonograph, and the idea came from his subconscious mind. Your subconscious is your friend. It seeks to heal you, to restore you. If someone is presenting you with a phony deal, there's something within you that warns you. That is your subconscious mind prompting you. Its intimations, urgings, promptings, murmurings are always lifeward. It seeks to heal you if you cut yourself. If you burn yourself, it seeks to reduce the edema. It gives you new skin and tissue. If your child is very sick and you're completely exhausted, think about waking up to give the medicine to your child at 2 or 3 in the morning, and it will wake you up, no matter how tired you are, to minister to your child. Its tendency is always lifeward. Electricity, Edison knew, was produced by friction. Reverse it. Electricity in turn produces friction. Edison knew the transformation of forces, and he knew that the force is reversible. Heat produces mechanical motion. Mechanical motion produces heat. Cause and effect, action and reaction. These are cosmic and universal. Pray believing that you already possess what you pray for. Yes, it will come to pass. This is the law of inverse transformation. For example, if the sale of your home brought a certain amount of joy, satisfaction, and elation into your mental atmosphere, then the feeling that would be yours if you realized it would also produce that. In other words, that feeling or that mental state captured in your imagination and feeling must produce the sale of the home. If the actual sale of the home brought a certain joy and satisfaction to you, then reverse it. Capture the feeling, the mood that would be yours if you sold it by imagining the check in your hand, giving thanks for it, depositing it into the bank. Do the things you would do if your home sold, all in your mind or your imagination, and that attitude of mind will produce it. Awaken within yourself the feeling that would be yours if you realized your desire now, and that feeling will produce it. A young boy, a Demolay boy who wanted to go to a certain college, had difficulty and was rejected. I said to him, "You understand this law of inverse transformation. How would you feel if they accepted you now? If you went in to see this man who rejected you and he said, 'We've changed our minds, we've looked over your qualifications and you are accepted.' He said, 'I'd feel happy. I'd call up my dad and tell him I'd feel wonderful.' Well, I said, 'As you go to sleep at night, feel that I am congratulating your acceptance and your marvelous success in the college. Imagine you're also talking to your dad and telling him you've been accepted. You're going there now in your own mind. It's wonderful. You can capture that feeling in your imagination, that inner mood.' He did that, and he was accepted. The feeling of the answered prayer, if assumed and sustained, must objectify the answer to your prayer. That's the meaning of, 'He calleth things that be not as though they were, and the unseen become seen.' If a physical fact can produce a psychological state, then that psychological state can produce a physical fact. That's the meaning of 'all things whatsoever you shall ask in prayer, believe that you have it now, and you shall receive it.' How can you believe you have it now when the reality is an idea, a mental picture in your mind? You accepted the mental picture, dramatize it, feel the reality of it, rejoice in it. Believe in the law of growth, knowing that the seed you put in the ground will grow if you nourish it, sustain it, and water it, and fertilize it. The philosophy of 6,000 years has not searched the chambers and the magazines of the soul," Emerson said. "Your consciousness is the sum total of all your subjective and objective impressions and awareness. Your mind is a medium of ideas, a collection of impressions. Some are good, and perhaps some are not so bad. Your mind is therefore a medium for all sorts of impressions, and your mind should be open only to ideas which heal, bless, inspire, elevate, and dignify your soul. For ideas are our masters. Ideas generate emotions. The reason there is so much misery in the world is the ideas many men hold are completely false. These emotions get snarled up in the subconscious, and they must have an outlet. Being of a negative nature, it must be a negative outlet. James Watt was a Scotsman, a mechanic. His mother was making a cup of tea, and he saw the result of the steam forcing the lid up. He began to think what would happen if he harnessed that steam. Tremendous power there. The idea came from his subconscious mind to force steam into a cylinder which contained a piston. The expansion forced the piston back and drove the wheels. That was the beginning of the steam engine, which revolutionized industry all over the world. When a man says it can't be done because it was never done before, it's impossible. Remember, the science of aerodynamics states that a bumblebee cannot fly because its wingspan is too short and its weight is too great. But the bumblebee doesn't know what's in the textbook, so it goes ahead and flies. So when someone says it can't be done, the man who knows the power of his imagination, of the great friend within him, says, I'm going to do it. It can be done. And the subconscious, which is his friend, responds to him and brings it to pass in a wonderful way. Someone mailed me a clipping from the Copley News service. A Mexican man was praying for wealth. That is, he wanted money to do the things he wanted to do. According to the article, he was poor, and he had gone to Guadalupe to pray. In a dream, he saw the Virgin, and she said to him in the dream, purchase this ticket 37281 in the Mexican lottery. He called his nephew in Texas and asked him to track it down, so the nephew tracked it down, and he invested the uncle's money to buy a block of tickets. The uncle won $3 million, the grand prize in Mexico. Then the Internal Revenue Service visited his nephew and said, we want $1,600,000 because you're here in America and you bought this ticket. So he took it to the tax court, and the judge said, this man received an answer to his prayer from the Virgin, and the ticket was purchased in his name, and the Internal Revenue doesn't get anything. That's the friend who gave $3 million to this Mexican who believed that the Virgin would answer him. That's the friend that's within you. Its ways are past finding out. Of course, the Virgin is the I am within you, your own subconscious mind. It's capable of infinite conceptions within itself. That's why Mary means the sea. Virgin means of pure mind. The infinite mind, the I am, the presence of God within you. That's called the Virgin Mary in all Bibles of the world. Mary is a Latin word meaning the sea. It has nothing at all to do with a woman or a virgin or anything of that nature, because what's within you is capable of an infinite number of conceptions of itself without the aid of any man. It created a whole universe. For example, the tree outside your door is an immaculate conception. So is the whole universe an immaculate conception. It came out of the mind of God. He had no one to aid him, for God is all there is, and therefore only God can make a tree. That is the Virgin that is within you. Even though he had blind faith and thought he was praying to a virgin, his subconscious responded, because your subconscious responds whether the object of your faith be true or false. That's a very interesting thing to know. It'll answer to blind belief too. In the subconscious mind, there is an intelligence and wisdom which provides aid in emergencies when a direct demand is made upon it.